sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and can even keep you from getting the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS. So this is episode 4 of the No BS Sales School podcast in our little series about how to sell the No BS way. So the first one, we talked about kind of a pre-call plan. The second one was how your prospects are probably screwing you in a sales call. Number 3 was some mindsets that are super important for sales, 2 of them. And now I'm going to move to the second 2. So the first one, or the third one, I guess in this case, is equal business stature. You are equal to every single person you call on and are around. You're the same at the same level. So what does that mean, and why in the hell would that be a rule? Well, a lot of people, I was taught, quite frankly, early in my sales career about the golden rule, which was he with the gold rules. So if a buyer or a prospect wanted you to do something, then you just freaking did it, right? They say jump, you say how high. And I would say that was bad advice. That the right advice is that you are equal. And so therefore, if somebody says jump, you don't have to say how high, you say why. Here's what this means. Right? You have just as much right to walk away from any deal as your prospect does. And that scares the hell out of a lot of salespeople. Like, oh, I can't push back. I can't tell them I'm not going to do that because then they could buy from somebody else. Well, maybe so, but you've got your process that you need to follow. And some of your prospects won't want to follow it. And you can make a business decision if you want to continue. Because just know, as soon as you don't follow your process and you're following the prospect's process, you're probably going to lose, or if nothing else, you're going to waste a ton of time. So you have just as much right to say, listen, I appreciate you asking me to do that, or I'm happy to do that, but you're on page 8, I'm back on page 2. Can we go back to page 2 and figure out if it makes sense to move forward? It's also okay to, if you give something, to get something in return. If somebody says, cut your price or whatever the hell they might say, you can say, look, I'm happy to do that. And always be happy to do what they say. Those are your words, right? Doesn't have to be what you do, but just say, look, I'm happy to do that. But if I'm okay doing that, will you do this? For example, somebody says, hey, you need to reduce your price 10%, or will you cut your price? And you say, I guess I'm happy to do that. If I do that, though, which one of these things shall we take out? Or if I'm okay cutting my price, again, I really shouldn't use that example. Start with, if I'm okay cutting that price, that amount, I'll need you to sign a contract for a year, or I'll need you to pay, 110% for the next one. If things like, if I'm okay driving or coming to your office to meet, are you going to be okay having the right people there so we can make a decision? Or if I'm okay jumping on Zoom one more time, are you okay if we decide whether or not it makes sense to move forward? Or if somebody says, hey, give me a proposal, I want you to say, look, I'll be happy to do that. Let's pretend I do. And you like what you see. What do you see happening next? And by the way, when somebody asks you to do a proposal, I think it's perfectly okay to say, I'm happy to talk to you about that. I'm happy to do that. But typically I don't do that. Do you mind if we talk for a little while and see what that proposal might look like? Have them help you write it. Just make sure you know what happens next. So if somebody asks you to do something, one thing you can get in return is to find out what happens next. Because if you say, I'm happy to send you a proposal, what do you see happening next? They say, well, I'm getting 4 or 5 more in and I'm going to pick. Then you can make a business decision if you want to do that or not. I would say, hell no. But that's me. I'm in a different situation sometimes. So equal business stature. And here's one thing that's controversial. Some people are like, that doesn't work in my business. Just call everybody by their first name. You're equal. Just call somebody Mr. or Mrs. It makes you sound like a damn chump. I don't care how old. If somebody's 50 years older than you or older, call them Mr. or Mrs. Otherwise, call them by their damn first name. It's okay. It's in business. We're equal business stature. By the way, this also works in reverse. Everybody you talk to is your equal. This includes the janitor. This includes the lady at the front desk. This includes every single employee. You are the same, no better, no worse. Equal respect for everyone. Wouldn't it be great if everybody in the world saw it that way? Start with you. The last one, or the fourth one, there's plenty of mindsets, but the fourth major one in my mind is to be the guide and not the hero. A lot of you all have read the book called Story Brand by Donald Miller. I'm a big fan. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. Among the things he talks about are the different characters in almost every story, and that there's a hero, the one who saves the day, and then there's a guide, the one who is helpful, who's kind of in the back, offering advice of how to do this. He doesn't take much credit. He just offers advice to the hero. A lot of times, salespeople get into sales, or they hang around in sales, believe they're supposed to be the hero. Because what happens is you close the deal, you come back to the office, you ring the bell, you're the freaking hero. And who doesn't want to be the hero, right? But here's what I want you to change your thinking, because if you're not the hero, if you don't get the sale, then by definition, you're the loser. Nobody wants to be the loser. So instead of even shooting for hero, make your prospect, or actually at the time, make your client the hero for choosing you. Make them the hero. Celebrate them. Sales is never about you, the salesperson. Sales is always about the prospect, giving them what they want, what solves their pain in a way that they want it. And if you can't accommodate those things, then you're not the right fit. Go back to the last episode. Right? But your job is to go in and find out, what is this person looking for? Why are they looking for it? Make sure that they feel completely understood. This is something I can't hit on enough. Maybe you hear the same thing over and over and over again, and you can tell somebody what their problems are before they can tell you what their problems are. Shut the hell up. Keep it to yourself. Let them tell you. Because it's so much more important. It's more important that they know you understand because you listen to them, and they know that you listen to them. You're active listening. You're repeating back what they said. You're asking good, relevant questions to make sure you understand more, digging down to their opinions about things. Because everybody's walked a different life path. Everybody's gotten to where they are a different way. They have different life experiences. And if you assume that they're the same, you're going to miss something. It's important for your prospect to actually tell you what's been going on, why it matters, how much it hurts, what they've tried to do, what they think you ought to do, what they think they ought to do, and what happens if they don't do anything. Those are questions you need to ask your prospect, so you can be the guide and give them the kind of experience that they're looking for. Nobody gives a shit what you think until they have paid you. Don't fall for that trap that you need to go in and be the expert. Be the expert at your prospect. Be the expert of your prospect's opinions. And the only way you'll be that is if you ask them. Picture being a guide versus a hero, right? To understand. And I use this example sometimes. Imagine that you had some folks, that you had a mountain biking business, right? And there was a beautiful view that you would take people to see on your business. And there was one trail that was very technical, very lots of up and down and up and down. And there's one that was flat and straight, but they both ended up at this beautiful view that people wanted to go see. Would it be great to know ahead of time which trail somebody would prefer? Because if you send everybody down the technical rocky path, by the time they get to the beautiful view, they may be pissed as shit at you, right? And imagine if you send the people that are looking for the technical path, if you send them on the straight and narrow, they're going to be bored out of their brains and won't recommend you to anybody. They'll say, that sucked. But imagine if you could find out from your prospect which one they would prefer, right? Help them figure out. And then you learn from them which one they are better suited for. So our mindsets are, you're not the right fit for everybody. Ask, don't tell. Equal business stature with everybody you deal with. And the last one, be the guide, not the hero. I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. Do me a favor. Go to iTunes, write a recommendation for this show, a testimonial. If you do that, take a picture and send it to walker@walkermckay.com. I'll give you a treat you'll be glad you got. It's a cool surprise. Anyway, talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast. If you haven't already, please take 1 minute to write a quick review for the show. It really does make a huge difference. Also, subscribe to the show and please forward this episode to somebody else who needs to hear it. As a bonus for listening, I'm going to give you access to a free mini course, 7 expensive sales mistakes you're making and what you can do about it. Go to www.7salesmistakes.com and get access to the free mini course. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.